Good morning, all. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be able to talk to you today at the 2020 International Security Conference. I'm Baldeep Dogra, Director of Product Marketing at Blackberry. Today, I wanted to talk about why security must be absolutely without compromise, allowing transparency and productivity, which is what we feel is critical to business continuity today. Got a pretty straightforward agenda. Going to talk about Blackberry, who we are, and our vision. I'm going to give you a glimpse of what business continuity means within the lens of UEM and UES, our two key product suites. And then why Blackberry? You know, don't just listen to me. There's some external viewpoints on how we're doing and to give you that kind of external perspective. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to talk about Blackberry, our journey. So it's a long storied history. We've been around for 35 years, believe it or not. We invented the smartphone about 20 years ago. We invented end-to-end secure connectivity with the workplace on mobile devices, app containerization. Then we made some acquisitions. We acquired QNX. We acquired that embedded technology in 150 automobiles, including nuclear power stations, shipping containers, and even the International Space Station. UEM has then evolved from MDM and EMM into UEM. And then moving forwards, we now have UES, which we got through the acquisition of Cylance. So we developed UES because it gave us the ability to now integrate this unique, this amazing lightweight AI technology into everything we do, and we call it Unified Endpoint Security, and that's where we're going moving forwards, UEM and UES. So what is today's market? What is our challenge? So I'd like to give you a glimpse of how Blackberry approaches today's challenges. Right? We call it chaos. You can call it cyber chaos, but there's a couple of key ways of looking at it. Firstly, there's data and endpoint chaos. People want to use whatever endpoint they want, whatever device they want, whether it's bring your own device, whatever it is. On the back of that, they're producing lots of data. There's lots of stuff being thrown out there in the market. Lots of data, lots of devices. You get an exponential rise in vulnerabilities and threats. That's on the back of an expanding attack surface, and this is being accelerated by the speed of innovation. There's more and more things coming to market, more and more data to crunch through. There's a lot of data management companies out there who are just making an absolute lots of money, but securing that data and keeping that data private is really, really important, and it's part of this chaos. On top of that, the business is spending lots of money on point solutions, security solutions, and that's increasing the number of consoles to manage. And lots of additional money is being spent on those additional solutions. So you've got a rise in the number of vendors to manage, the rise in the number of agents that's actually running in your environment to manage as well. It's chaotic. Add to that the state level threats we have today as well. The next type of chaos is business continuity chaos. Now you're probably thinking, all right, he's going to talk about COVID-19. Well, that's just one part. You see, business continuity chaos started a while back. Companies are looking at the cost of office space, for example. It's increasing, right? We want to move our office from the city to the country, so it's because it's cheaper rent. We've got to get the staff, but we can't get the staff, so we have to have them working remotely. So the remote working challenge started quite a while ago, but COVID-19 has really accelerated it. We've had complaints from customers like our VPNs are getting overloaded. We don't have enough laptops to send to users. I mean, there's two problems there right now. Companies were not ready for COVID-19, so VPNs, they just didn't have the equipment or the infrastructure to support a remote workforce. You know, it could have been a very small group, like sales, for example, but now more people have to work remotely. So that challenge has been exacerbated by COVID-19. Business continuity is really key to this, right? So they want to keep the business running, so they'll throw money at infrastructure, they'll throw money at whatever they can, but they also have to allow their users to use their devices at home, their home computers, right? So bring your own device is now real, very, very real. And on the top of that, you've got an increase in phishing attacks, for example. So threats that would normally impact the user on their home device is now being translated to the work environment. It's dangerous. So we call that business continuity chaos. The third element as part of this cyber chaos is what we call trust. Trust is, you know, do you have trust in your employees not sharing data outside of the normal trusted channels within the company? Right, trust in the sense that are the right people accessing the right data at the right time or in the right location. You can have contractors joining for a week or two. Do they still have access? Do they have access to everything? So you want to make sure that there's trust in your people, your users, the apps that they're using, the devices they're using those apps on, and the networks that they're connecting to. I mean, they could be outside connecting to Starbucks without you knowing. It could be dangerous. It could be hacked, right? You just never know. So but there's an element of trust you've got to give to that user. What that does, it increases the risk profile, right? And that risk profile will put a bit of a damper, a bit of additional risk on your data, on your you know, your intellectual property, right? So companies, businesses, data are at risk. So BlackBerry looks at this, and we use a market term called zero trust, but we do it our own way, right? Zero trust means trust nobody. Always, well, never trust, always verify. It's a term that's been around for a while. I believe it was invented by Forrester, but you know, others have taken it on as well. It's initially to keep out bad actors from outside the internal network and within it, right, at the network level, the internal network level. It's evolved due to the rise of apps and people employing workarounds, for example, and the other chaos that I mentioned before around cyber threats. Do you trust them? Having a never trust, always verify approach is critical. And we do it through what we call dynamic adaptation of policies, having continuous and contextual authentication of your user. What that means is, I mentioned before about a user traveling and potentially getting on a Starbucks network and using a device they're not supposed to, whatever it is, whatever apps they're not supposed to use in that location. Our zero trust will look at that risk profile and then adjust the policy and adapt, right, to that particular app, location, user automatically. So there's no touching from the admin, right? It's automatic. No touching from the user either, right? So we call it zero touch on the back of that. So zero trust to zero touch. You want transparency, you want full productivity, you want users to be productive and happy, right? You want good user experience. So our policies will dynamically adapt. We will continually monitor and assess the risk profile of that user and adapt the policy to match their location, who they are, and what they're doing, and who they're with as well. Right. So that's BlackBerry's view of zero trust, and we believe it gives some really positive outcomes like better security and user experience, happy CISOs, reduced vendors to work with, better performance in TCO, and simplified admin. And we do that through Spark. BlackBerry Spark is a marriage of unified endpoint management, which is our history, and unified endpoint security. Unified endpoint security brings protection and prevention around your users. Unified endpoint management manages the users, endpoints, and the data that they're using and the apps they're using as well. Right, so it's very, these work together incredibly well. We're getting lots of customers getting behind them. But what's fundamental to this is our foundation of security. We do not patch security. One of our competitors yesterday had it exposed, right? So the fact that they have inbound ports, they've been exposed. Hackers are able to go in and execute code, malicious code on their services in the DMZ, for example. Right? We don't have any of that. So, what does Spark bring to business continuity? Well, I mentioned before that people want to work at home. They have to work at home. The FBI says it's a 300% increase in cybercrime. Many CFOs want to see their employees work from home permanently, right? 19% believe that they were ready to enable the remote workforce. What does BlackBerry give you? So for remote working, we give you secure access to work apps, any device, any desktop. There's no VPN required, and most importantly, user privacy is preserved, as well as data integrity for the workplace. You just need 3 minutes to get up and running with BlackBerry Remote working. You download the app, you activate with the key, and you enter your credentials that the admin has set for you, and then you're done. So that's business continuity from BlackBerry. It's very quick and simple. You can access your legacy apps as well through our partnership with Iwingu. So this is what UEM delivers. Manage all endpoints, all operating systems through any device ownership model and through application containers. Let's talk about the secure infrastructure. So I mentioned before that we do not require VPN. We have built-in end-to-end secure connectivity. This is the foundation of our security. Nothing else can come close. This ensures that whatever you build on that platform, and this is fundamental to us building our software, we build it with that security in mind, so you don't have to keep patching stuff, right, like our competitors do. There's no inbound ports on the firewall, so no gaping holes. We are the first line of defense for all connectivity, right? So we keep it simple, and secure infrastructure is the backbone of what we do. Right, so you understand the chaos, the challenge, how BlackBerry addresses it with the approach and our product sets through UEM and UES. With the secure infrastructure, now you can get productive, right? And apps is the backbone of that productivity. We have BlackBerry apps. We can use 127 different, what we call ISV ecosystem apps as well. You can build custom apps on our platform. We have APIs, shared APIs, shared services. You can use those open APIs and build your apps, custom apps within our platform. Securely in our container, we have back-end access and security across the platform. We also support Microsoft apps. We worked with Microsoft to develop the BlackBerry Bridge application, and it bridges literally between BlackBerry Work and Microsoft Office. So if you want to use your Office apps natively and securely, use BlackBerry Bridge. So that takes us to the UES side of the house. AI is the future. It's going to drive this next level of security, productivity, and capability. Key to this is protecting your endpoints and people while preventing those malicious attacks. Cyber is losing strategy without artificial intelligence. It's learning from the past to predict and shape the future. You've probably seen this quote before. It's from the NSA director, Adam Michael Rogers. So what is BlackBerry Protect? It's AI-driven malware prevention. It's true zero-day prevention. It's continuously learning. It's not signature-based platform, which is in itself quite risky, right? And very, very resource intensive. BlackBerry Protect, using our AI, is very resource friendly. It's very lightweight, and it knows malware attacks. It knows ransomware before it happens. That's why the prevention side is absolutely critical. Prevention is very much better than cure. We also have Protect for mobile, right? So MTD is what other vendors call it. we integrate it within our UEM and UES products, right? So it's a no-brainer. Those features you see there, iOS side load detection, for example, and UEM App Store, Android, phishing prevention, offline protection, all of these are what users want and what users need. There's about 95% of what they need. Mobile threat defense specific vendors might give a few more features, but a lot of them users just don't use, right? So you need the features that users want. So now you can protect and prevent malicious attacks on your mobile and desktop devices with Blackberry Protect. Now, then there's a case for continuous authentication. So mentioned in Zero Trust, continuous authentication, continuously monitoring that risk profile is critical. That's where this comes in, and we call it Blackberry Persona. 2FA is becoming less relevant from a security and productivity perspective. Blackberry Persona will give you that modern AI security you need to follow your user and to adapt to that user's needs, using their apps, using their devices whenever they need to use those apps and from wherever. And this is because current policy-driven security cannot react fast enough to those ubiquitous threats that I mentioned earlier on. So that's our product set. That's how we approach the challenges of today. And just want to finish off with why BlackBerry. And you know, we've got a leadership out there with 10 out of 10 commercial banks, all regulated industry. It's been our kind of bread and butter, but we are looking beyond that as well, because security is now a key talking point across all sectors. And in a couple of things that are driving that for us, EAL4+ accreditation for us is critical. It's given to our Dynamics platform, and it's relevant to regulated and restricted environments. Why would you not deploy an EAL4+? Why would you want to deploy a solution that's not relevant to regulated and restricted environments if you're in that environment? So EAL4+ for us, by common criteria, is critical. And finally, we have the NIAP certification, which we got 3 weeks ago, and it strengthens our security portfolio for government and regulated industry. So look out for that press release. We will share it after this. Finally, Frost & Sullivan issued an independent report recently where they said that we secure 96% of the enterprise IoT threat landscape. So look out for that report as well. And we are very relevant in all of those sectors you see at the bottom. I hope that was useful for you. Thank you very much for your time and attention, and I'm going to pass you back. Thank you very much for your time.